What's up, Wolfpack? I'm back with another video, and today I'm going to be watching something that I just found today, which is called At the Age of 9, This Girl Became the World's Youngest Serial Killer. So, without further ado, let's check it out. Let's go.
Hit a little traffic. Optimist.
Decepticons.
This is the story of a woman who looks like a little girl, but she is really dangerous. She has destroyed multiple families, and again, she is adopted by another. Let's see how she settles into her new family. Welcome to Movie Recall. In today's video, we will be going through the 2009 movie Orphan. It's time to recall. Let's get started. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The movie starts at a hospital where Kate Coleman and her husband John walk in as she is in labor. She gets on a wheelchair, and as she is getting wheeled away, she starts to bleed heavily. In the delivery room, Kate is in a lot of pain and asks where John is, but nobody will tell her anything. The doctor tells her to relax, but Kate knows something is wrong with her baby. The nurse tells her that the baby is stillborn, but they have to deliver it anyway. Kate is in disbelief and tells them that the baby is alive. Before she has time to think, the doctor grabs his scalpel and begins to cut into Kate's stomach. Kate wants to be put to sleep, but the doctor says there isn't time. Kate yells and screams as the doctor cuts into her. John walks into the room with a video camera and tells Kate that she's doing perfect. After a few seconds, a baby's cry is heard, and the nurse hands her a stillborn baby covered in a bloody blanket. This is when we see her waking up, and it turns out to be a dream. She goes to the bathroom, looks at a scar on her belly, and then goes away. Later on, she goes to see her therapist named Dr. Browning, who tells her that it is normal to have nightmares after going through the trauma of stillbirth. Kate says that perhaps the nightmares are happening because she and John are seeing children that same week so they can adopt one. She also says that she passed by the liquor store on her way to the office. Dr. Browning asks if she went inside. Kate says she didn't, but she was extremely tempted. Dr. Browning says that she is able to resist that temptation, then she is most certainly able to hold her own as an adoptive mother. Kate goes straight from Dr. Browning's office to a school for the deaf or hearing impaired. She is greeted by her and John's 5-year-old daughter, Max. Max holds up a picture she drew, and Kate says in sign language that it's very beautiful. As Kate is driving home with Max in her car seat, she spots a young man with his child walking together. Kate is so distracted that a large truck almost hits her. Back at home, Kate is playing the piano while something constantly keeps banging against the house. Finally having enough, Kate goes outside and sees Max attempting to shoot a basket. Kate tells her to stop, and Max says that she is sorry, but Kate apologizes and says she shouldn't have yelled. Seconds later, John pulls up in the driveway with his and Kate's son Daniel, who takes the ball from Max and shoots a hoop. John takes the ball from Daniel and hands it to Max and lifts her up to the hoop so she can get a basket. Kate tries to say hello to Daniel, but he rushes past her to go and play. That night, when she is tucking Max into bed, the girl goes on to ask her if she is going to have a sister, and Kate does not say anything. Later on, she talks to John about the adoption, and they decide that they are going to go through with it. The next morning, Kate and John go to St. Mariana's orphanage for girls. When Kate and John get out of the car, they are greeted by Sister Abigail, who thanks them for coming. As they walk inside, someone is watching them from a window. When Kate gets the feeling that they're being watched, she looks up to the window but sees nothing. Kate and John separate. Kate is shown the girls by Sister Abigail, while John goes to use the bathroom. Kate and Sister Abigail watch the girls play, and Sister Abigail says that adopting an older child isn't an easy decision to make, but Kate says they're ready. John leaves the bathroom and goes to look for Kate, but stops when he hears a girl singing. John then goes on to follow the singing and sees a young girl sitting alone in a room, painting. John begins to walk away when the girl suddenly greets him. John steps into the room and the girl introduces herself as Esther, and John begins to look through her paintings. They are extraordinary, since Esther seems so young. John asks Esther about the painting she is working on, and Esther says that each of her paintings tell a story, and that in her current painting, a mother lion is sad because she can't find her cubs. John asks why the mother lion is smiling, and Esther says that it is because she is dreaming of her cubs. John hopes that she finds them, and Esther says she will and begins to paint in the lion cubs. Kate and Sister Abigail walk in, and John introduces Kate to Esther. Esther talks to John and Kate, and soon the couple agrees that Esther is the one they want to adopt. They speak to Sister Abigail in her office, and she mentions that Esther is a rather mature 9-year-old and says that she is very smart and very polite as well. Sister mentions that the girl acts like a princess and stays formal more often than not. After 3 weeks, John and Kate take Esther home, and Max rushes out to greet them. Esther uses sign language to greet her, and Max takes an instant liking to her new sister. However, when Daniel isn't fond of her, he even asks John rather loudly why Esther is dressed so differently, and John quickly shushes him. Esther is thrilled when she sees that they have a piano, and Kate offers to teach her to play, and Esther accepts instantly. John, Kate, and Max show Esther her bedroom, and Esther says that it's perfect and she loves it. Esther is also introduced to Barbara, who is John's mother and Esther's new grandmother. A few days later, a celebration is being held in honor of Esther's adoption, and this includes presents and cake, almost like a birthday party. Daniel doesn't seem eager to join the family celebration and instead plays Guitar Hero with his friend Tyler. As Daniel comes close to winning a game, he asks John to look, but John is far too interested in Esther unwrapping her presents, which just happens to be a large easel and paint supplies. Esther gives John a huge hug and smiles at Daniel from over his shoulder. Daniel tells Tyler that the game is getting boring and he leaves. Tyler and Daniel's other friend follow him out into the woods near their house. They go to Daniel's treehouse, and Daniel lifts an old board to reveal hidden Playboy-type magazines. Kate is then in the kitchen doing the dishes when she gets to have a chat with her mother-in-law, Barbara, who asks her about her plans. Kate says that she wants to continue teaching, and the woman tells her it is not a good idea. Her mother-in-law seems to be disappointed in her, and the conversation does not seem to be a pleasant one. The kids arrive at school, and the teacher introduces Esther to her class. A girl named Brenda teases Esther. Esther says nothing, only stares coldly and walks calmly to her seat. Later that night, Kate runs a bath for Esther. Kate goes to do the laundry, but hears Esther lock the door and immediately goes to check if she is all right. Esther unlocks the door, and Kate warns that they do not lock doors in the house, but Esther says that she was afraid someone would walk in and see her. Kate assures her that no one will walk in and says she won't even go downstairs until she's done. Esther says she will sing for her because she used to sing to the nuns at the orphanage so that they would know she was all right when she was taking a bath. Kate says okay and goes to finish the laundry. As Kate is putting away Esther's clothes and listening to her sing, she finds that one of Esther's drawers is stuck. After some tugging and pulling, Kate discovers a book with a photo of a man inside it. Kate accidentally drops the book, and Esther's singing goes quiet, but starts back up after a minute. Kate shoves the book back in its hiding spot and continues about the laundry. As she goes down the hall to Max's room, Esther opens the bathroom door and looks coldly out. Obvious she knew what Kate was up to. The scene then changes to the woods where Daniel is playing paintball, but he mistakenly shoots a bird. He is upset after that, and when Esther goes to him, he is sobbing and she sees the bird in palm. Esther then tells the boy to put the bird out of its misery, but Daniel does not have the courage to do that. Esther picks up a large brick and smashes the bird. The next day at school, some students make fun of her, and a girl named Brenda throws her Bible away and the pages are scattered. Esther goes on to scream as if she is possessed, and everyone is weirded out. Later on, Kate and Esther get to have a conversation. She asks the girl about the incident at school, but Esther does not feel like talking about it. That night, John and Kate are having sex when Esther walks in on them, and next morning, when Kate goes to talk to her about it, she tells her that she already knows about that. Kate is shocked. Later that day, John takes the kids to the park where Esther runs into Brenda and goes on to push her off a slide. The girl ends up breaking her leg. Max sees Esther pushing the girl, but does not tell anyone. At the dinner table, Kate asks her about it, but Esther says Brenda simply slipped. They then ask Max about it, and he does not rat Esther out, as Esther earlier told her not to do it if she wants to stay close to her. During dinner, Daniel is rude to Esther, and John tells him to apologize to his sister, but Daniel loses it, saying she is not his sister. As punishment for his outburst, John locks up Daniel's treehouse and says he will unlock it when Daniel apologizes to Esther. A few days later, Sister Abigail comes for a visit after being informed of Brenda's accident. As Kate and John speak with Sister Abigail about the accident, Esther panics and goes to Max's room and tells her that a mean lady is coming to take her away and asks Max for help, and Max agrees. They sneak into John's office and begin to search around for the keys to the padlock to the treehouse. Max finds some keys and hands them off to Esther. Esther uses the keys to unlock John's safe, where she finds a gun, partially loads it, and points it directly at Max's forehead and asks Max if she wants to play. Max, clearly frightened, shakes her head and Esther lowers the gun. Max and Esther rush to the bridge that isn't far from the house, and they know Sister Abigail's car will pass it. Esther tells Max to stand in front of Sister Abigail's car and wave her hands to get her to stop, but Max is nervous. As Sister Abigail comes driving along, Max is frozen with fear and refuses to move. Having enough, Esther pushes Max onto the road, and Sister Abigail slams on the brakes and her car swerves off the road. Sister Abigail climbs out of her car and rushes to a hysterical Max. Sister Abigail asks Max if she is okay, but a shadow looms over her and Sister Abigail looks up, just as Esther beats on her head with a hammer. Sister Abigail is bleeding and unconscious, but Esther knows she will probably wake up soon. She pulls Max to her feet and tells her to stop crying. Esther forces Max to help remove Sister Abigail's body before another car comes along. They push her body down a hill, but Sister Abigail regains consciousness and tries to climb back up. Esther grabs the hammer and beats Sister Abigail until she is pretty bloody and definitely dead. Esther takes a traumatized Max up to the treehouse and removes her bloody gloves and dress, but Max is still crying. Esther says that if she is caught for the murder, then Max will go to jail with her, and tells Max that she won't tell on her if she doesn't tell on Esther. Max agrees, and Esther comforts her. When they are climbing down, Daniel sees them at the treehouse, and later that night, she interrogates him about what he saw, threatening to castrate him if he tells Kate and John. As Kate becomes further convinced about Esther's unusual behavior, John believes she is being paranoid and tells Esther to do something nice for Kate. Esther rips out the flowers from Jessica's grave and gives them to Kate as a bouquet. Kate is horrified and roughly grabs Esther's arm in distress, asserting that she did this on purpose. That night, Esther breaks her own arm and falsely blames Kate, causing further strife in Kate and John's marriage. The next day, Esther releases the brakes in the car, causing it to roll into oncoming traffic with Max inside. She also points out the wine she found in the kitchen, causing John and Kate's therapist to suggest Kate returns to rehab, with John threatening to leave her and take the children if she refuses. Kate discovers that Esther came from an Estonian mental hospital named the Serene Institute, and the orphanage she claims she was from has no record of her. When Daniel learns about Sister Abigail's death from Max and searches the treehouse, Esther sets it on fire and attempts to kill him, but is thwarted by Max. Daniel is seriously injured, and while in the hospital in ICU, Esther tries to smother him to death with a pillow, but doctors revive him. Kate, enraged, slaps Esther before she is restrained and sedated. That night, Esther dresses provocatively and attempts to seduce John, who threatens to send Esther back to the orphanage after realizing Kate had been right about Esther's behavior. At the hospital, Kate is contacted by Dr. Varava of the Sarn Institute and learns that Esther is actually a 33-year-old woman named Lena Klammer, born in Estonia. She has hypopituitarism, a rare hormonal disorder that stunted her physical growth and caused proportional dwarfism, and she has spent most of her life posing as a little girl. Lena is violent and has murdered at least 7 people, including the last family that adopted her. After failing to seduce her adoptive father, Lena removes the ribbons she was wearing around her wrists and neck, which have been hiding scars from trying to break out of straitjackets during her time at the asylum. Lena removes her disguise and stabs John to death. Kate rushes home, and Lena attempts to shoot her, wounding her arm. After Lena opens fire on Max, Kate breaks through the greenhouse roof and knocks Lena unconscious. Kate and Max flee as police arrive, but Lena attacks Kate near the frozen pond, hurling them onto the ice. Max tries to shoot Lena, but shatters the ice instead, sending Lena and Kate underwater. Kate begins to climb out with Lena clinging to her legs. Lena reverts to her Esther personality, begging her as she calls her mommy, asking her not to let her die with a knife hidden behind her back. Kate retorts angrily that she is not Lena's mommy and kicks her in the face, breaking her neck.
Hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to like and subscribe.